laboratory quality means excellence in patient care. It means providing the right result on the right patient at the right time. And we look at various levels in the laboratory, from starting from the patient through the specimen to the analysis in the laboratory to the reporting of the results. And we have to get all those things right to have quality.
Quality to me really is, I think, best epitomized by the CAP's motto of right test, right patient, right time, right result. And so all of those things all along the way are, I think, critical to what our patients and physicians expect of us in providing quality results and materials. Particularly in anatomic pathology, there are a number of processes that happen before a sample even gets to the laboratory that are critical to the quality that's going to come up of the result that's going to come out later on. And of course, within the laboratory, we do take enormous steps to ensure that what we're doing is properly labeled, it's the right test, it's the right sample, it meets all of our quality criteria, and that the results match what is expected, that if there's something that's abnormal, that gets flagged and relayed appropriately. And all of those run into providing quality for our patients and physicians.
As you probably heard, the laboratory provides much, or maybe even most, of the objective data in a patient's chart. So we really have to get those lab results right, because so much of what we do determines a patient's diagnosis and gives their physician what the prognosis will be on that patient. So many of the things that we produce in the laboratory are going to determine how the patient is managed. And again, we have to get those results right so that the patients are treated appropriately. As you're well aware, the laboratory is becoming increasingly important for helping physicians determine how patients will be managed. For instance, we have predictive tests, HER2 testing, for instance, for breast cancer testing. Those results of those tests the laboratory produces will in large part determine how the patients are managed. You may have heard Dr. Jared Swartz when he was here. He's the president of the CAP. When he came to see us last fall, he said that pathologists don't necessarily see patients for the most part, but people don't think of us writing prescriptions, but we do write prescriptions. When we issue the results of those tests, it's going to determine more or less how those patients are treated.
One of the things that strikes me, though, is how critical to quality is not just the mentality or the whatever, but is the overall structure of the system. The way that you have organized your work before, during, and after it enters the laboratory, so that all along the way there are really enough safeguards and structural things such that you really can't go off the path of quality. You have the efforts made to sort of minimize that, much as a guardrail does on the high overpass or whatever, prevent you from running off into a disaster. There are structural pieces in place in our process so that if it's going to hit the guardrail, it's not going to create a major disaster. And that's, I think, part of, to me, what quality is about, is having the system organized such that it can ensure quality on a consistent basis. And one of the things that you have to do in that is actually recognize the human weakness factor and endeavor to, all along the path, work to minimize the manner in which human interactions and human miscommunications, miscues, number flipping, et cetera, can enter into the process to create defects or quality problems further down the line. The other thing that's critical is to make sure that you get off on the right start, because errors that happen upstream can be magnified many fold the further down the process they go, and take all that much more work to go back and correct. When someone comes to me as director of AP with a problem, very often as you start tracing that back, you come to find one of those human element errors where there's been a transcription error or a number reversal or a piece of paper left lying around or that sort of thing. So that's, to me, what we need to be looking at as we look at quality in our system, is to make sure that we minimize those opportunities for error to enter in by having the guardrails up, both to keep things in as well as to keep the wrong things out of our processes. Well, I think the search for quality is a never-ending process. It has to be iterative, that you continue to inspect and continue to review your processes both proactively as well as reactively to make sure that all of the things along the way are adding up to a quality result for our patients. And that really does take a mindset and a mentality to continue to look for those things all along as experiences come.
With the exception of the blood bank, the product of the laboratory is information, and this information is critical for the care of patients. We generate this information by starting with a specimen for testing, and it goes through a process that involves providing the test and reporting the results to the appropriate care provider. This information is critical because it's the basis for most decisions that are made regarding patient care. In technical terms, we call this pre-analytic, analytic, and post-analytic. And it is the quality that we add at each of these three steps that really ensures the quality of the product of the information. So, quality information is essential for physicians and nurses to have, and they have to trust this information in order to provide appropriate patient care. Now, we in the laboratory have a long history of being very concerned about the analytical process, and we've invested much of our energy and our effort to ensure that we can produce a quality result. And we can. We can produce good results that are reliable on the specimens that we obtained. However, for a total quality approach, we have to be equally concerned about the pre-analytic and the post-analytic phases. For it is in these phases that many of our failures occur. So these phases provide rocky soil for problems, but also fertile ground for improvement. And in order to work in these phases, we have to interact with our customers. This interaction involves ensuring that our customers know what specimen to provide for us and know how to interpret the result that we report. Now, those who work at the bench in our laboratory are very accustomed to providing this interface, but we have a large team. It consists of medical doctors, people behind the scenes, and even our medical residents in training who provide this critical interface. We are proud of our team, and we are confident that they do a great job in helping provide this interface. Because without the interface, we don't have a quality system, because quality is only possible when our customers' needs are met and their concerns addressed.